Hi, welcome back to the IB Club. Um, this is chapter 8 of The Wave. So now in chapter 8, it was an okay chapter. I think we're seeing the effects of the brainwashing affect everyone, and we're seeing how it's like it started off as an experiment and now it's becoming bigger than what it actually is. Um, like, but we're also seeing like how after Lori had that conversation with her parents, I think everything what her mom has said has infected her to look at look around her class and everyone that's being affected by this and think, man, this is kind of creepy. This isn't like this is kind of weird. Like she even mentions to her boyfriend David that like this all sounds like brainwashing, and she feels like it's all creepy behavior. Um, and like David's thinking like this is all great, like we even mentioned it to he mentions the football team, like he feels like everyone's like spirits are good, like they like really responded to him expressing the wave to his team. Even his coach is impressed by it. And then later on, when they go to school and they go to Mr. Ross's class, Mr. Ross is wearing a new suit and tie. It's like his new formal attire instead of wearing his usual teaching clothes. So he's changing as well, and he's also added a new word through instead of now strength through discipline, strength through community. He's now added action. I think these are like all the steps that like probably how like in Nazi Germany they probably did the same thing where like they first they probably did something similar where they implemented through a small group of people and then and then it was just spreading throughout the entire country. And we see that here too because what we're noticing is that uh, some of the things that they're doing it on command. They're doing it without command from Mr. Ross, and I think that's and Mr. Ross is even know it and noticing that. Um, he mentions that you should never be afraid to act on what you believe. I think this is kind of ironic that he's saying this because even though he says this and Lori's there, she's starting to not feel the same way. That he's expressing words that aren't entirely true because his actions are different than what he's saying because like he wants everybody to think like as a community. So your individual goals are not as important as the community as a whole. He's mentioning that we should all act like an well-oiled machine, and that you aren't competing against each other for the right answers in this class. Instead, you're trying to be better people. That you should work together for a common cause. You're all equals. Nobody's more popular than anyone else, and everyone thinks that's a great idea. But Lori doesn't feel the same way. In addition, he added these little membership cards that they all have now with like a red X, and he like some people have it, but the main point of those are people to act as monitors, so they are supposed to report to him for any members who do not obey the rules of the wave. And I think these are like these little subordinates, you give them a little power, and then these people will start to think that, oh, now I have power that I myself should implement these rules to others, and they should follow them. Um, yeah, so yeah, I think it's kind of wild to see this class act the way they are, you know. At the even have, I think was there was something I wanted to say. What did I say? Yeah, it's like right here. It's like Ben, aka Mr. Ross. He says almost subconsciously he sensed how much they wanted him to lead them, and it was something he felt he could not deny. Um, he said, he was gonna. Yeah, they were just people were like so infatuated with this, and everybody was screaming that they're really proud that they're part of this group and organization. Yeah. Oh, I thought this line was really nice. I thought it was like, the experiment was simply becoming much more interesting. The, but Ben was confident that he had control as their leader. Was like I think let me just read this. I think the wave, Mr. Ross, yeah, the sign, like, let me read this paragraph. Mr. Ross was picking up his class notes when his students burst forth, this time giving the salute and chanting their motto without prompting. Then silence fell over the room. Mr. Ross gazed at the citizen wonderment. The wave was no longer just an idea or a game. It was a living movement in his students. They were the wave now, and Ben realized that they could act on their own without him if they wanted. That thought could have been frightening, but Ben was confident that he had control as their leader. The experiment was simply becoming much more interesting. It's not an experiment anymore. This is not an experiment. This is brainwashing. This is straight up brainwashing, and Ben's probably brainwashed himself. He just brainwashed himself. That's just great. That's really great. They even sit at the same lunch table at the end of the chapter, and Laurie feels like, well, this is all just weird and creepy, and then we look, and Brian, who was always quiet, who sat by himself at lunch, right now that the entire wave, like, that's what I'm gonna refer to them now, those group of people in his class, in Ross's class, decide to sit at the lunch table. Like, Brian speaks up and tells Laurie to stop. Like, because he's a monitor, and like, he's actually taking it serious, that little membership card with the red X, and like, Robert, he says that the whole idea of the wave is that people in it have to support it. If we're really a community, we all have to agree. And I think that's just terrible. That's really sad. And you think about it, like, you're probably like, I'm just thinking back when I was a kid, and just thinking about like the things that you're told to do, and you think, man, these methods that we tell kids to follow through, to raise their hands or do certain things, we're just literally brainwashing them. But that's not really. It's just crazy to see how, like, so manipulative you can do, how little things can manipulate a child's mind and make them, like, do things. Insane. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chapter of chapter 8 of the wave. I'll be sure to post more videos in the future, and I hope you're all doing safe and you're okay during the quarantine. Okay, see you later.